Hello, hello, hello. This is Pastor Kim's Corner, and we're here for the Tuesday night tea. We're here for the Tuesday night tea. So I'm on a little bit early. So let's see what's going on here for Tuesday night. And I can edit it later. Our topic tonight is gender roles. People have different roles, male and female. So let's find out what they are. Thank you, Vern, for sharing me out. Hi, how are you? God bless. I hope and pray all is well. How are things going? Thank you. Oh, okay, I can see it right here. Hi. Woo. I came in, I took a nap, and man, oh man, thank the Lord for Jesus. I got a little glow going up above my head. Let's see what that's about. I'm not going to worry about it today. But we thank God for his goodness. Do I have emojis? Yes, I do. Did you get your gift? I sent out a video, members only. Did you get your gift? Your gift? Now we have to talk. Oh, yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to talk, maybe afterwards, or I can hit you up on Instagram. Okay, so Rashana is here. We've got our first co-host here, and we're talking about gender roles tonight. Okay, this was a topic that Evangelist Rashana wanted to talk about. First of all, thank y'all so much for coming in, and I appreciate you so much for being here. Don't forget to thumbs up the live. Special shout out to Vern's Closet. I appreciate you. And yeah, so we're talking about gender roles. And guys, by the way, if you haven't yet, finally, I have my website up. I'm going to drop it before I bring Rashana up. I'm going to drop it real quick. The website into the chat so that you can go and check it out and purchase something. So I'm going to drop. Thank you so much. So we're just getting started. I didn't put out like an advertisement for just time management. I need so much time management. It's ridiculous. But guess what? I got a couple more weeks and then school will be out, and I thoroughly enjoy my summers. And so that's my website, guys, Pastor Kim's Corner. It's on Wixsite. So if you go check it out, there's some items over there. I don't have everything on there, but I'm like, why procrastinate? Just put it out there and just add the stuff as you go. All right, so I'm getting ready to bring Rashana up, and we're going to start tonight with gender roles.
Hey.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you, sis?
I am good. I'm in my room. Wait a minute, my room dirty.
Say what? You say you're good?
Yeah.
Are we both feeling the leopard? You got the memo?
Mm-hmm. Apostle says send him the invite. I see him on Facebook.
Okay, I sent it to him to his text. So let me try to send it one more time. And
Facebook.
Send it on Facebook. Now listen, I haven't gotten there yet. So
okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see him right there. Okay, so I sent it to your text message, Prophet. Let me send it again. Let me see what I'm doing here. Invite, copy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm getting an advertisement here. I mean, somebody's notification. So now I have to go back and I'm going to send it to his text.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm sending it to your text, Apostle. I'm sending it by way of text message. And I'm going to see if I can put it in the stream so you can pick it up there as well. So I just put it in the stream. Hopefully it'll pop up. Yeah. So I sent it to your text, Prophet. And then I also sent it to, I put it in the live. So if you can pick it up right there in the live. Oh, let me see. Nope, not yet. We're gonna wait on the man of God, okay? Normally we get, hey Netaboo, God bless you. How you doing? We get started. I think I just plain on need some new glasses because I used to be farsighted, but now it just seems like I can't see anything. Y'all pray for
Time to
me.
go back to the doctor.
I'm gonna turn that confession around. I can see
Everything.
all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hallelujah. But God is good. And so we thank you for coming in. When you come in, don't forget to thumbs up the live. And so I'm going to wait for the man of God. Take your time, man of God, and jump on in. Netaboo, can you copy that StreamYard link and send it to Prophet's Facebook? That's in the chat. Send it to his Facebook. So yeah, we're going to be once again talking about gender roles. And also, y'all have to go check out my website. Okay. I finally got the website up. I wanted to purchase my domain name, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put this site up. It's through Wix. Everybody knows Wix. It is what it is. And once people start purchasing items, it's t-shirts, cups, mostly t-shirts, coffee mug, refrigerator magnet, a little like fanny pack. It's not really a fanny pack because you can't wrap it around, but
it's like a makeup. I see it.
Say
It's
that
like
again, sis.
It's like a makeup pouch.
Yes, a makeup pouch. And so go over there and check it out. I haven't put any of my signs up there yet, but I will. I'm just like all over the place. I don't know how you YouTubers are. But sometimes I'm all over the place. You talk about irons in the fire. Listen, I got irons in the fire, straws, brooms. I got so much going on.
Don't we all, sis?
Listen, and listen, don't let me digress, Rashana, because
I understand.
I got 60 days to get my license renewed, okay?
You got this, sis.
Oh, listen. God is so awesome. He really is, and we'll definitely have to talk about that because I didn't know after every course you have to complete the survey.
Oh yeah.
Listen. I had courses back to 2015 and 16 that I had not completed the survey. I don't know what you call that.
But you got it together now though. It's all right.
Oh, listen,
all right.
praise God. Praise God. I had somebody, listen, the Lord led me to somebody and I pulled on her coattails, sent her an email. She was like, oh, sure, I'll help you. and she works with me, and so we met today, and I'm telling you, she was a godsend because she really did help me. And I had literally about 32 surveys to complete, and I completed all of them today because I might not
Yay.
even need to need any more credits. Once I completed those surveys, I was like, you know what? Thank you, Lord.
But it's good though, because if you had did it before time, you might have been like, oh, I ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll
Yeah,
work.
because every credit is like an hour, no, 10 hours. Like
Yeah,
I
I was
need
like, so,
3 credits, and that's 30 hours.
so
And
it
I
may
was
work
like,
out that you not don't need as much as you think you need.
exactly, exactly. So God is working it out for my good. He continues to take care of us and keep us if we just don't even panic. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to walk in it. Like I always tell people, when I'm preaching, I got one finger pointed at them, but I got three pointed at me. I
That
got to
was me
walk.
this weekend. I preached this weekend, and it was one of those messages where you had to preach it to yourself first. I was like, oh God, wait a minute. I don't want to expose myself, but we finna talk about this thing. Like, wait a minute. I definitely had to like point it at myself first before I could minister it out to other people.
I feel you. I feel you 100%, because sometimes that's why I like experiential preaching. When you get that revelation from God, you're going to have to walk in that revelation. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I do feel that. Like every time I feel like I learn something new about them, I then have to walk out what I just learned. I'm like, wait a minute, God, can I just not know that piece? Can I not get that
Girl,
through osmosis? I don't want to experience it.
girl, listen, everybody be excited about the rhemas and the revelations. Like I said, you got to walk that stuff out.
It's like when you prayed for patience and God gave you things to create that patience. You're like, wait a minute, I'll never
Oh,
pray for
no,
that
yeah,
again.
see, I don't pray for patience.
I did. I used to pray for patience, and then He gave me these people that grew my patience. And I was like, oh, okay, God,
Listen, I have clearly had the interpretation of patience in the Bible. It's long suffering.
suffering.
Okay. I'm gonna make myself be patient. Okay. That's one thing
I will
God
work
won't
on my
have to
own
do.
patience, Lord. You won't have to give me any more situations.
Exactly. He will not have to do that. Okay. I'm gonna work it out in Jesus' name.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, come on. We praying now, Father God. Let prophet come on through because the enemy is trying to hold them up. Uh-uh. And so God is good. I'm just grateful to him for all that he is doing. Y'all don't know. I feel so energized. I feel so good when I get on the lives, because it's just a blessing to be an inspiration to someone else. And a lot of times that's how God works. You could be going through some stuff. I know you know about this, Rashana. You could be going through some stuff yourself, and then God, oh, okay, got you. Thank you, Netaboo. And then God will have you helping somebody, ministering to somebody, and you'll be like, really, God, really?
Because
Like you got me
oftentimes
ministering.
when you're counseling other people, I'm like, God, if you wanted me to know this, we didn't have to counsel nobody else. Like, yo, feel like he be dropping it for me when I'm telling the other people, like, God, we could have had a private conversation.
Hello? I saw it, Netaboo. Netaboo text me. Prophet has service on Tuesday night, so he pops in after the service, so he's not done yet. And so we'll go ahead and get started then. That's why we usually get started. But when I saw his message, I thought he was ready. So he's flowing in the Holy Ghost. Guess what? And that's private. That's his Zoom. So if anybody wants that Zoom, y'all let me know. I can hook y'all up to some blessings. But you better watch out, because when you talk about the gifts in the fivefold ministry, I know my gift in the fivefold ministry is a teacher. I know that plain and clear. Prophet is an apostle and a prophet, and that's his gift. When he start to flowing, look out, okay? That's all I'm saying. Ain't that right, sis?
I was nodding my head. I don't know if you saw me, but I was agreeing.
Okay, so let's talk about these gender roles. So, in previous times, well, can you want to start? Because this was your topic.
I can start because so what I have noticed is that there is like a disconnect between what was traditional and what is now new gender roles, because our generation and the previous generations, it was like set gender roles of the woman did this and the man did this, and now the roles are flipping, and sometimes it's working and sometimes it's not. So I have a couple of friends that are asking me, I guess, my opinion or my biblical opinion on it. And I was like, I don't know if you're gonna like what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna take you back to the word, but this may not be what you think is gonna, people are like want to say they're independent women and they're not dependent upon anybody else, but you want a husband. I was like, I don't know what you want me to go with, but I'm going to tell you what it says. So it's that was why I wanted to bring that topic out to light, because a lot of people are like, I want a husband, but I want to still be able to run my house the way I wanted to run my house, or I want to still be the boss. And I'm like, do you want a husband for real, or do you want these new age husbands? Like, do you want the old? People say I want what my grandmother had, but then we don't want to do what grandma did. If that makes
Very,
sense.
very interesting. So tell us, so what is your take on gender roles?
I believe that everybody plays a role. Everybody has their own role, and you have to kind of work it out for your relationship. Um, I'm very
Go ahead, I'm
traditional.
listening.
I do the cooking, the cleaning. I do the stuff. I do the stuff that we were all brought up to do. But a lot of new people are like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. We're going 50-50.
Well, we're just getting started, Prophet, and we're talking about gender roles. And
Oh, I
so,
heard y'all.
Rashawn, God bless you, man of God. How you doing?
Wonderful. God bless you all.
So, Sister Rashana, Evangelist Rashana, is starting us off, and she's telling us. Now, tell us one more time, sis, what you
Well,
say about gender roles, because
what I believe
again.
about gender role, I'm very traditional. I can talk about what I do in relationships. Normally in a relationship, I'm very traditional. I cook, I clean, I do the traditional woman role. But what I'm finding out, people are changing up these roles, and sometimes it's working for them and sometimes it's not. But I think it's got to be a give and take, and you can't expect to have what grandma and granddaddy have if you're not doing what grandma and granddaddy did. Like, you want those type of relationships, but you don't want to do the things or perform the roles that they perform.
Okay. So it's a very good topic, and uh, I'm gonna it's interesting. It's very interesting because I think when you talk about gender roles, again, I agree with when you say things are more traditional, but I look at it a little bit like, and previously when things were more traditional, the woman cooked and cleaned. I look at it a little bit differently than that, because first of all, I believe whatever works in your home with you and your spouse, if he likes to cook, things like that. But when we talk about gender roles as well, I look at it a little bit differently in terms of this. Women, we want our independence. We want to say, I'm an independent woman or independent Black woman or whatever. But at the same time, we want to be treated, and we talked about this before, we want to be treated a certain type of way when it comes to a man. And sometimes, it may seem confusing. You know what I mean? You want the man to open the door for you, but at the same time, since you're declaring that you're independent, does he pay all the time for dinner, or what? How does that go? So, Prophet, I had to get mine in before you came and cleaned the house. So go ahead.
Before he ran the shop, he about to. We had to talk first.
I was listening to you guys the whole time. I was, just getting off one site and on another. The night is a good night for me. I had a wonderful, phenomenal time. But I just thought about, you were talking. I thought about, the gender roles, and I thought about soulmates. I thought about several key pieces, if I can. I think that before we get into something, we should identify it. I wrote a leadership care package, and I um, teach pretty much now every week to a group of pastors and youth pastors and leaders and prophets and ministers in local churches. And while teaching that, a lot of them are being promoted. But when I into these different offices in church and ministry and in there amongst their families and communities, But I think what has to be taught is, and I use that in this gender role with man and woman, because we're talking about relationship. And I believe that many of us are walking things that we're not called to do. When I say we're not called to do, think about it, because I don't believe everybody is called to certain types of relationships. Even though some women want independency, some don't. Some are needy and clinging. Some wait for self-validation. Some just want to be in a relationship, but still want to be, they don't want to lose their identity in that process. And I think a lot of times people don't come into it with, when I said being called to it, I mean, don't spend the time to identify it. So after you're called to it, right, it gotta be identified. We have to identify our assignment in this. And many times we look to identify man and woman, our place in the relationship, in the gender role sector, you know, without spending time to learn the character of ourselves individually. Because most people get in relationships and don't even know themselves.
Very
You know what I
true.
mean? Yeah. I need to know me. What is I've been single. You've been single so long. What are your do's and don'ts? Instead, we just come into the relationship with what we want. What we expect. And then many times, because we only dealt with ourselves, if you've been single for a while, how do you come into the relationship doing gender roles when you've been opening your own door, when you've been paying for your own check, when you've been paying all of your bills, when you go home at night, you're in the bedroom by yourself, so you take off your shoes or you leave them on. It doesn't matter. There's nobody to offend in whatever you do or don't do. Why? Because you only have one person to please, and that's just you. And so with the gender role for me is that now someone else is a part of this package. And the only way we can have an effective relationship and work with this gender thing here is I got to know me and I got to know the me that I need to be with you. You know what I mean?
That's
Yes.
a good point.
Without without making you feel less than who God has made you. And sometimes some of us brothers, we do it. We get with women, and I know I see a lot of young brothers and older ones as well. We got a lot of control issues. I'm not saying that all men are like that. I'm not saying that, but a lot of brothers can be controlling. What I said, too. We think that running the house means we take our women and we treat y'all like little kids. We tell you when to get up and when to sit down, and unfortunately, some women let us do it. You know,
Woo.
yes, yes. And so I tell women all the time, listen, don't let us do that. Before we start to go into this gender thing, let me know that if you don't want me to cook or you want to cook sometimes and I like to cook, then let me know what you like to do. And I need to spend this a season here of learning you and learning me. So whatever the role is that I need to play, because listen, look at this. Because the role that I played in the last season might have been my playmate. But the role that I'm playing in this season is with my soulmate.
Wow.
Oh, you
That's
got
good, sir.
and some people are still trying to do gender roles and have a whole relationship with someone that is not their soulmate. It's that she's still your playmate. He's still your playmate. And you trying to make a soulmate out of a playmate, and that ain't gonna work.
Mm.
It just because you can't become what you aren't, you know. And I want to say this to women and men, and I'm gonna be quiet and come back in later. But every woman
You
and every
fine.
man that had a good look, if you had a good man, if God is putting somebody good in your life, He may not do everything that you need Him to do right now. And if God is putting a good woman in your life, she may not do everything that you need her to do right now. Because it's a process of blending, coming together. It's like we got to be put in a mixer. You know what I mean? You want to make some good, smooth vanilla pudding, you got to mix the ingredients together and let it blend and let it blend. And if you do an instant thing, it might take 2 minutes if you make an instant pudding. But if you're doing the old-fashioned pudding, you got to do some heating up some stuff, some mixing, some blending. So the blend takes a process. And even though we blend together, we are still individuals. And I,
My God.
and a woman is still expecting certain things from us. And as a man, we are still expecting certain things from you. I'm done.
Woo. My God, my God. Lord have mercy. So I'm getting to some of the comments. 12 Bells, welcome to the live. I appreciate you so much for coming in. She says, too many people get in relationships with the mindset one person to please. That's a problem. Selfishness.
But yeah,
So when they come, it sounds like she's saying when they come into the relationship, they're just trying to please that person to make sure that they're happy or they're okay, and then that becomes a form of selfishness. I do agree. I do agree with that.
well, I think I feel it. I'm gonna cut you off.
No, no, no. You go right ahead.
I think
Hey,
what
cousin
happens here
Logan,
is,
God bless you.
I think
Go
what
ahead.
happens is people come into a relationship, and we should be coming with someone to settle down with, and not to settle. So what mind are we bringing? Are we bringing a mind to settle, or are we bringing a mind to settle down? Now, if you're gonna settle, then you only made it about the other person and never about you. You look, you went into a relationship and you excluded yourself, and you know
Mercy.
what I mean?
Wait, Prophet. I know I gotta let you flow, but wait a second. You went into a relationship and you only thought about the other person. You
right.
never thought about yourself. Did y'all catch that in the spirit? Mercy.
That's
Go
a
ahead,
whole
man of
tweet
God.
right there.
Go ahead,
Look,
Rashad.
I said that's
Go.
a whole tweet right there. You going into a
Hello?
situation.
That's a
Yeah, that's a
tweet.
whole.
That's a t-shirt. Okay.
look, yeah,
Don't
no,
forget
Front
about
and
yourself when you
back.
go into this.
You went into a relationship
to
only
exclude,
thinking about the other
yeah,
person. That's like that's a plaque. Go ahead, man of God. Go ahead.
well, how are we gonna be in this together and you ain't here? You can't,
Mercy.
because guess what? If you do that, then guess what? You will settle for every area. You won't be settled. Listen, you won't be fulfilled in your heart with love, with happiness. And if I can go here, this is live. And if you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, you won't even be satisfied sexually. Why? Because you have excluded. You have extracted yourself from the equation. And so now it's not a relationship. And you know what you are then? You are a servant or a slave. And a slave only does what the master says. And
Mercy.
so and I add some other things in there. I just I think that we can't settle, or we have to settle down, and we have to think more highly of ourselves than that. That if you genuinely love the person, then genuinely love yourself too. Because the person that you love needs. I'm a man. I genuinely need a woman in my life that's gonna love herself too. You know what I mean?
Man of
Don't let
God.
don't let my love validate you. You see what I'm saying? Because
Say
if you
that
can
part
only
again.
don't let my love validate you. My love can be a part of the completing process for you. You know what I mean? But my love for you should never validate you. Women, you ought to bring some validation to the table. And for you women that are looking for men, then we ought to bring some validation as well. Many times we look for somebody to validate us. Because God put somebody in your life, well, then, yes, that person is a part of your life. They may make you happy. But I hear people say, like they say, well, he's my life. He's my everything. Well, we got the wrong thing in place, because God is our everything. God is our life.
Amen.
God first and everything else next. And I think that the missing link here in gender roles is we got to love ourselves. And I can't tell you of the people that I see that have been hurt in relationships, who have not been able to be effective in helping their children or helping other people around them, because they don't love themselves. Now, I don't know about you all women of God, but I lived at one time in my life not loving myself. Isn't it amazing? I was a believer in serving Christ, but I had low self-esteem. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that I didn't love me. But you know how I found out I didn't love myself? Because I was settling for things that the word spoke against. I was,
Mercy.
Come
I was,
on here, somebody.
I was accepting things in my life that was abusing me and not loving me and not helping me. And in my mind, I allowed the enemy to make me think, well, she gonna get better, or she loved me. I know she just going through. You start making excuses because you settle, and we can't live like that.
Drop the mic, and I don't even have it. I don't even have the mic. Drop the mic.
Ah,
Right.
But let
Definitely
me
want to
get
speak to that part about the low self-esteem. I can talk about that part. Like for me, I was probably in my 30s before I really, really loved me because I was so used to being what everybody wanted me to be, not just in regular roles. Like, um, I'm adopted. I can talk about that part. Well, I'm adopted, and I was always trying to be the perfect child because I knew I wasn't their child. So I would always try to do whatever it looked like, whatever I wanted to be like all my other cousins. I didn't look like them, so I tried to do all the things they did. So I didn't know who I was. It wasn't until I truly knew who I was that I was able to love me fully because I was always just, I'm a cracky kid. I'm gonna act like all the other crackers. I'm gonna do all the things they do. And I took that into relationships and I let people I can't talk about. Well, I let people abuse me in ways that I should not have let them abuse me. I allowed them. I allowed myself to be a doormat when I shouldn't have, because I was so used to trying to conform to somebody else's image of what I should be. But when I learned to love me, I was like, hey, y'all should have called me that other season. Now that I learned to love me, I'm able to know what I'm bringing to the table and that I have value. And now I won't settle for the things that I would have settled for in a season when I didn't love me.
Well, you know what? Can I say this to you? And this is real quick. The
go
problem
ahead,
is
man of God. Go ahead.
we try to make ourselves, when we have low self-esteem issues, we try to overcompensate. And so we try to make ourselves fit where we don't fit. You know what I mean? And the other part about that is the only reason why we don't fit is because we're not bringing the authentic us to the table. We're bringing, you know what I mean? We're bringing the illusion of what people, or what we think people want from us to the table. When that may not necessarily be what they want, but we don't know what to give because nobody validated us. Nobody told us. That's why when I came to Jesus, what did the Bible say? The Bible speaks a lot about new members and being a follower of Christ. It says, listen, before you start walking this walk, let this mind that is in Christ Jesus be in you. And then Apostle Paul goes here. Listen to this. He says, Jesus needs us. Look at this. He needs us to think above only and not beneath. That
My
thing hit me.
God.
When God gave me that revelation to that pastor, guess what? He showed me that, guess what? I envisioned myself as an airplane. Okay, look at this. Or even a bird with wings. Most birds have wings. All birds have wings. But some fly and some run. And I was a bird that only could run. I had wings, but I never flew. And once I found out that my wings, I could fly, the things that were affecting me because I was at a place of low degree, once I allowed my wings to spread and fly, I rose above self-esteem, low self-esteem. I rose above self-denial. I rose above denying myself. And guess what? Devaluing myself. And so I'm not looking for the world to validate me. I'm not looking to be the world's greatest preacher, greatest teacher. I'm not looking for man's validation. At this stage of my life, I learned how to love me. Guess what? And put God first. And now when God connects me to that, come on, to that Esther, to that Jewel, she's not going to find a broken man, but she's going to find a whole man. Are you hearing me? And then
Yeah.
for godly women, and many godly women, many of them are broken. They're hurting. They're wounded. And I just want to tell you that in the past, I felt like we were cut and we were bleeding. But we don't want to cut and bleed on people, or we don't want to bleed on people in this season who were not a part of the process of cutting us in the last season.
Amen. Amen. So listen, the chat is moving. I'm going to try to grab some of the comments. Taste Buds Philly, she said you should use the word to help you understand your role in marriage. 12L says, I caught that blending together piece. That's the whole truth. Taste Bud said, if you know who you are, then you should understand what to look for. That will complete the unit that you are your purpose desire to create. 12 Bells is agreeing, saying amen. Taste Buds Philly is saying gender roles could differ according to the relationship. Yes. Burns Young Closet, she says, I'm adopted also. Thank you, Sister Rashana, for your transparency and your testimony in that. Tina says hello. Hey, sis. And 12 Fell says, here's a mic. She was about to drop the mic. She was like, here's the mic. So we think, listen, We thank God. It means a lot. It means so much. And oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So we have to constantly evaluate and reevaluate ourselves when it comes to these relationships and to the roles. And I also think, and you guys definitely shed some light. I think roles again ties into love languages. I think roles tie into what people need, in a relationship, what each person may need or what they may want in a relationship. Because so often, when you talk about roles, sometimes people will give you something that you may not need in a relationship, and that could also be by way of a gender role. You know what I'm saying? Am I making any sense to anybody?
To- yeah, totally. And that comes through knowing how to relate, because I do need to know what to bring to the table. You know what I mean? And that comes with sensitivity. I think that if we don't spend time to learn each other in the gender, in relating to one another, then we may lack bringing what is needed to the other person. You know what I mean? And we'll be in a relationship. And the worst thing I see right now, and I was talking to my daughter about this today or yesterday, and about so many married people that she's seen, like married, in the world, and yet they're married, and the married people wish they could be single, and the single people want to get married because
I always say that. Oh, that's what I'm always saying. Go ahead, man of God.
the married people are unhappy, and Minister Rashonda said something a minute ago that was powerful. I happen to be a man who was abandoned by my father. I didn't meet my dad till I was 37, so I was raised by a stepfather. And it was, suffered a lot of things in that. You know what I mean? The abandonment issue. Because a lot of times people don't know what is expected of them when they have children, and people don't know what's expected of them when a man takes on a woman. We don't know what's expected of us many times. You know what I mean? A woman doesn't know what's expected of her. So sometimes the gender role is not completed, and one is not each other sometimes not fulfilled because either party is not, they don't know, they come to the table not empty, but filled with past hurts. You know what I mean? Past wounds and
Absolutely.
past scars. So now I'm here, and because I only knew how to receive abuse, and I thought that meant a person loved me, that's all I know how to give. I only know how to give what I've been getting. You know what I mean? And so therefore I come into this new relationship, and everything looks good until now she sees the real me. And the real me, I've only been used to abandonment issues. Why? Because my father walked out on me. People that were in my life that were there, that were supposed to pour into me, they exited and they left me. And there were things that I was supposed to get as a man that I had to pick up along the way. And I know it's a lot of women the same exact way. A lot of women, don't love themselves. And by the time you done went through the fourth man, the fifth man, done been hurt, you done been used, you done been worn down, torn down. Now the light comes on. You know what I mean? But now,
Absolutely.
you got to deal with all that past stuff. And now you get in front of you get in front of your destiny. Now, what do you bring to your destiny? You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So many times, women and men can get the decoy, as they say, before the
that's
real
good.
person comes along. And one of the things that you made me think about was like, I was raised by a single parent. My mom and dad divorced when I was young. And so my mom had the mindset, and this is what she taught me. She was like, if you get a good man, that's a fringe benefit. Like, don't depend on a man, always be able to take care of yourself. So, you got to think about too in terms of role. So that's the role that I grew up with. A man is a fringe benefit, so to speak. If you get a good one, great, but you still got to be able to take care of yourself. So if you, uh, get into a relationship with someone who maybe their mom, never worked, the mom stayed in the home, took care of the kids. That's the gender roles that they will grew up with. So now you've got two people coming together with two different sets of roles. And
That's
so
good.
it's very important to talk about. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's good because guess what? Because like you just said something very powerful. That is excellent, because now what I see as a black man is I see a strong black woman, my black mother, my mother who did the washing, the cooking, the cleaning, the making the money in the absence of my dad. Now, not all men are absent, but a lot have been. You know what I mean? Not
Mhm.
all women are present, because a lot have been absent. But whenever there is an absence, you know what I mean, of either one, mom or dad, it can serve as a negative into the growth of the child that grows up in the home of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, because
Mhm.
mom and some women are very independent because of that. They're very independent, and they'll say, "Look, I don't need you to pay my bills. I don't need you to do this." I don't. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, wow, they come at you. Not all women, but some come like that. You know, because they've been trained like that. And so now doesn't mean that you can't have a man. It just means that you need to know that there are other roles that you can play as being a strong black woman. It's all right to let him take. It's all right to give me the check. I know you've been paying the check for the bill for the last 25 years, and you still a good, strong black woman. Beautifully, fearfully, and wonderfully created. And there's nothing wrong with you letting the check go and letting that strong black man take that check. You know, and I know I'm talking to black people because we're black, but this is for any nationality of people that are listening to us. It is nothing wrong with the role or the hand that life dealt you, as Pastor Kim said. Life may have dealt us a deck, you know, and you may have had the ashes of one, and now God is giving you, the presence of that thing. So now we do need to change, because guess what? We can't bring that to the table in front of this new. Y'all go ahead.
And I'm gonna let Rashawn, if you have something to say, but you made me think about something else, because you have to, when you're in that relationship, you have to recognize, because so often people in relationships take things personal and they
Yeah.
have no idea where stuff is coming from. I remember when Tony and I were on our first date. We met at the movie theater. Okay, so we met at the movie theater to date. And so once we met each other, I automatically, without even thinking, went to the machine to go get my ticket, my movie ticket. And then and then he said to me, he said, I've already got both the tickets. And then he like sort of leaned down. He was like, there's still some gentlemen in this world today.
There you go.
That's what
There
he
you go.
said. I was like, because I didn't even think about it. I was just like, I don't know you. We just met. I'm gonna get my ticket. You get your ticket. Let's go. Like what? So we have to recognize, those where somebody else might have been like, oh, well, listen, this is our date. You paying for it completely. Would have never even thought about paying for like a movie ticket,
Isn't that something?
Yeah, so
It,
you kind of go ahead, man, guy.
it's just it's the absence of a lot of people. I don't feel we as the people have been trained to appreciate one another. And a lot of times people focus on their own independent needs. You know what I mean? And so sometimes, like you said something earlier about that spirit, selfishness. Selfish
Yeah, that was
people will,
12 Bell. Go ahead.
yeah, they will only think about themselves and never include you or your feelings or your thoughts into the process. And I always say it don't have to be right. It doesn't have to be wrong, but both parties need to know that they have a voice and that your voice means something. I don't have to agree with it, but you have a voice. And you need to know that your voice means something.
Man, oh man, that's awesome. Rashana, would you have something to say? You said no?
She said no. She said, "Listen, I'm just
Oh. So
y'all
guys,
making me."
if you're just popping in, we are talking about gender roles in the chat. Taste Buds Philly said gender roles can be cultural. That's absolutely true. Taste Buds Philly says that's my mom, and I would have done that. LOL. I don't know where she got that from, because she would not let her 5 girls do that. That's funny. Well, again, all of that was just something completely new. So, you have to find what works for you, especially or particularly in your relationship. If sometimes, I knew Sister Jackie and her husband, he loved to cook, so he cooked all the time. She cooked, but he loved to cook. So it wasn't like, she had to cook. You have to find the things that, work in your relationship. And to me, especially, when both parties are working, it's different if somebody is home all day or whatever, but if both parties are out there working, or maybe it isn't different. I don't know. Y'all need to, comment on that, because you've got some dads who are home, and of course you have moms who are home, but as roles have started to change, some dads are home. And I feel like it just depends. I don't feel like every dad. I know some dads are. Prophet, I know you are, and I
Oh
know some
Lord.
dads are, but every man can't handle taking care of children. Is that being gender biased?
No, you're right. You listen. I mean, you said it powerfully because listen. I think, like you said, like going to a relationship. I think one of the things is not to be um, insecure. Like sometimes some men are insecure because or women are insecure because the man wants to cook. All right. And I feel like that's my job. You got the kitchen, but that may be one of the things that he done well. Like some strong women come into this thing, paying their bills. You've been strong and you've been doing what you do independently as a woman because you had to. And then there's some men that have been single and they're strong and they've been independently. And so some of us had to learn how to do what we quote unquote society may have said, this is for a woman, that's for a man. So now something that men normally did, women do, and some of y'all do it real well. And something that men do that men don't, they didn't do, and women do very well. But yes, it was. I'm gonna say I appreciate women for this, and I see any mother raising one child, most less five or three or two. It ain't easy. So as a man, I'm a father. I became a father at a young age, and I had five children, and I gave great compassion for a woman raising kids. Look, you got to do bottles, you got to do feeding, you got to change, you got to wash. Everything about that child living is upon that mother's existence. So I think if you happen to have a mother and father together, it is good to share the genders. It's good to share the roles. Because guess what? That can also help us when we share responsibilities. It can bring us a sense of appreciation for the roles that each other play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was one thing that my mother said too. I remember in my first marriage when the girl's father and I would be going through, and I would talk to her, and she said to me one time, she said, listen, me raising you by myself, I couldn't go to the store. I couldn't go outside and get a breath of fresh air. I couldn't leave and come back, take a break. She was like, at least you can do that. You have these kids, you can, go to the store, you can go out, take a break, you can go to the mall, you can do whatever. She was saying to me, I didn't have that opportunity because I was a single parent. And so that speaks truth to me, to what you're saying, because everything, you have that full responsibility. Vern's Junk Closet says, not me. My hubby has been cooking since I met him, 29 years, and
All
I
right.
do not cook. She says she doesn't cook. Welcome to the live Shoni Talks Lifestyle. Shoni says, I agree. Share the responsibilities. Roles stay the same. Roles is really just man be a man and woman be a woman. However, if you don't know what that assignment is, then there you go. Shoni Talks Live. God bless you. Bless you. That's Elder Richie's daughter, Prophet.
Oh, Deshaun.
That is Deshaun.
Oh my God. Hey, sweetheart, it's been a long time. Tell your parents I asked about them. My brother and my sister. Yes, God, I know well.
Yes,
Deal with it.
yes. And she is definitely coming to her own. So sweet, her and her family. So yes, anybody else have anything they want to say? Any of you have any questions about gender roles?
I think that gender roles requires growth. and sometimes it also requires new company
Mm,
and sometimes even new locations and
my,
new mindset. I wrote this stuff down before I came on, y'all. You
that's
know,
all right.
and what I mean by that is sometimes I was saying this earlier and I didn't finish it, but um, every woman and every man that finds a good woman, every woman that finds a good man, sometimes you have to move from listening to your lonely friends about your newfound relationship because you you got lonely friends who don't like being lonely, but also who may not like you who are entering into a place of not being lonely. You know what I mean? And you got to know when to still keep your friends friends, but know when it's time to shift things into another category. You know what I mean? Because guess what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Absolutely. Go
and
ahead, Minute. I'm sorry.
no, you okay? No, you good. I'm just sharing. I wanted to say that because I found it as a man, I had like a lot of brothers in the Lord, they're friends of mine. Brothers, you have your friends you hang out with, but when you find that right woman and you find that love of your life, now you got to spend time to become one. As I said earlier, to mix, to blend. So you done left that old mixture alone, that other stuff alone. Again, it's like leaving those playmates. You can't receive your soulmate until you leave that other stuff alone. You know,
Oh my God. That's so true. I mean, that is so true that you have to leave other relationships alone. And sometimes you just have a lot of jealousy and envy, excuse me, amongst, sometimes it's not just among single friends, it's among other couples. You know what I mean? And to me, it takes back to what you said. Sometimes the married want to be single and the single want to be married. And let's face it, this social media can portray like life is super, super, super great.
an
You know?
illusion, an illusion. It can betray an illusion, and people go into the idea of marriage, the idea of relationship, without knowing the responsibility or even the accountability that is needed to make this relationship not only stand but work.
I know that's right. So, okay, let me get this. Vern says, I'm not sure I care for gender roles because if the garbage needs to be taken out, I will do it. Just like if the clothes need to be ironed, he has two hands, get to iron it. Oh
she,
my
she
God.
she cutting up. She cutting up. But see, but
And
But
guess
I
that
what
is
though?
understand
so,
where
he
she's
said,
coming
so
from.
true.
But when you really fall in love, guess what? When you really think about it, when one really falls in love, think about it, and you're not being taken advantage of, and they're not being taken advantage of, and you're not using. I mean, being a user, and they're not. Guess what? You would love make you do some stuff, Saints. You know what I mean? Look, love make you overlook stuff and cover stuff, but you just got to know that you're not being taken, especially if it's been somebody from somebody like myself, and I don't know if anybody else have come through hurts and scars. And listen, I don't connect to drama. That's just me. I don't do drama. I don't even do confrontation. I only confront when necessary, but I will not
Woo!
argue. You know what I mean? There's some people that only know how to do is argue and fuss, and excuse my terminology, and raise hell. That's all. That's all. They seen their mama do it, their grandmama do it, daddy do it, granddaddy, and so that's all they know. And so they duplicate what they seen. And for me, I've seen it so much that I don't do it. I don't like it. You know, and I shut down when I see that kind of stuff. I just shut down. I'm like, oh, you got it. The ball is in
You
your
win.
court. Do that make sense?
Absolutely. Go ahead, sis. I felt like you were going to say something.
Well, he said a couple things, but I was saying I'm definitely one of those people. But what I wanted to go back to was something previously. Um, People can only love you to the capability that they know how. She was saying, talking about it earlier about culturally, but it's also family. Uh, my husband came from a single a single mother, and his father wasn't in his life a lot. But I came from a two-parent household. My mother and father were married to my mother passed. So I had a different image of what marriage should look like because I was in a house where with a loving marriage, husband and wife. And we had to come to what it was going to look like for us. Because in the beginning, I wanted him to be Jesse Crockett. Like I want him to be. My father is like 10 feet tall in my eyes, so I had these expectations of him. But he didn't have a Jesse Crockett in his life, so he didn't. He like, yo, my mama did everything, so he was expecting me to do everything because his mama had did everything. I was like, wait a minute, my daddy was 10 feet tall. My mama ain't never had to do X, Y, and Z, but I had to learn what was gonna work for us. And I think the best thing for us was that we moved. We moved from Charlotte to Georgia. And when we was in Georgia, we had no other family, so we had to like lean and depend on each other. And then we were able to grow into what it was going to really look like. Like, hey, I can go do these things, and yes, you're not going to do the things that I expected you to do, but you're going to meet me in other places. So we had to learn and grow, and I think that's sometimes a family thing where you expect your spouse to be like your father or like your mother, and then if they've never seen it, they can't live up to what they've never seen.
That's a good point. That's a very, very, very good point. Because a lot of times, like they say, you'll either marry somebody that's like your dad or the opposite, or you'll marry somebody that's like your mom. A guy will marry somebody that's like their mom or the opposite, depending on, how they felt about, the role that parent played. So, yeah, that's very, very important. I'm getting to some of these comments again. Vern says she agreed with Shoni. And Shoni says, I can't do that. Shoni said, yep, you have to learn and grow. And you do have to learn and grow and find out, what the roles are. I kind of agree with Vern, where she said, just I'm not so good with the roles. It just depends, I'm laughing because it depends, because there's some things that, I may have done but didn't like to do. You understand what I'm saying? And so for me, I have to remember, if I want certain roles to be played no matter what, then what roles am I going to have to play no matter what? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And
There's
I
always
just
going to be
think
a give and take.
I think it needs to be like some classes, with a lot of these things being written down in our society, in our communities, in our churches, and just so it gives different types of you know understanding, relating. Because I think for me, if I'm with a woman, or and you don't like doing something, if I love you, I don't want you to do something you don't like doing. You know what I'm saying? Some people, how do people be with people and people know you don't like doing something and they're okay with you not liking it? Just do it. You know what I mean? I think if you love me enough, then guess what? You know that I don't like it. Then guess what? You won't make that a part of my gender, my duties. You know what I mean? You say, you know what, my husband, he don't like that. So you know what? We're gonna do something different. You know? And for me as a man, it's the same thing. My wife doesn't like that. So you know what? No, I don't want you because I love. Listen, your happiness, and I think so many things need to be taught to husbands, men, us, our women's happiness, your happiness you need to know as a woman that to us as men and relating and our gender roles is that we got different. I'm male, you female, and we got that going on. But in order for us to blend, the different things that we do still doesn't change us from me being a man and you being a woman, and me being your covering as your spouse. You know what I mean? I still believe those biblical principles. I don't have to. I don't believe that I need to control you, but I do believe that I need to know my role as a man and as headship. And that doesn't mean control. You do what I say, and I think real headship means I understand how God leads me as men. God gives us as Christians, He gives us free will. You know what I mean? He doesn't control us, but yet He cares for us, and yet nobody loves us like Him. And I believe that our love toward women to you all should be for that same capacity. That's just a thought. I'm just giving a thought. That's all.
No, no, no. That's that. That's absolutely true. And I've seen, you had me racing through my mind because I've been in this thing a long time. Talked to couples, seen couples, ministered to couples, the whole 9 yards. And I thought about two couples. I remember one couple who, and I'm not going to name names, but he wanted to go full time in ministry. And so his wife was working, and she was working about 45 miles out. And so
Mm.
he wanted to go full time in ministry, and then she carried the workload. And I can remember, this was a long time ago. I was young, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know how she do that. I couldn't do that." But when she got her paycheck, she gave him the pay so that he could pay the bills and everything. But he bought her something, not a vacuum cleaner. He used to buy her flowers, negligees, perfume. He would take a portion of that paycheck and buy her something each and every time she brought that home as the quote unquote breadwinner. And I thought that that was amazing and awesome. They went on to have a great ministry. They still have a great ministry. God is blessing. And then I thought about another couple that was coming up in the church. And I remember him saying that his goal, him and his wife had like a goal. They wanted to try to out bless each other.
That's
That was their
amazing.
goal. They wanted to try to out bless each other. So like, they both work, but if he got home before her, sometimes he would have, just the foot soap thing, for her, just to soak, just to try to out bless each other. That was their goal. And they're still together, still in love, years and years later. And so I think that's genuinely what you're saying, because, if the husband loves the wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it, then it's not anything that, he wouldn't do for his wife and, to show love, and vice versa. I mean, to me, most women are easy. If you show them love, show them attention, they'll go all out. You know what I mean? You have to set the tone for a woman from the very beginning. You know what I mean? If you get up, flower, not necessarily flowers, but get up with the warm kiss, the flowers, the notes of affection, the nice talking, then you set the tone for the day. It's nothing that a woman wouldn't do. So I do agree with what you're saying.
But you know what else, too, Pastor Kim? I can say this. I know some people are chatting in. I'm so, I think we made so many mistakes in the past. You know what I mean? With ministry, with businesses, with life. I think, yes, that there are many women who have met men who have vision, be it to be a musician, a great singer, an artist, a preacher, whatever it is. But I think that sometimes, and not just men going forth to be those things, some women are going forth and they're leading. I think that a lot of times we forget, and it wasn't taught to me coming up in the church, and I see some mistakes when I look back. People say, well, God called me to minister. And somebody said, well, I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to do all these things. I think that when you connect to someone, again, it's a blend. And I think sometimes we don't include each other in the decision making that considers your life. That if I marry you, if I'm bringing a woman into my life, and now I want to be full time, whatever, it's not just about what I want, because whatever it is that I embrace, she's going to have to embrace it as well. And many times, I think a lot of marriages didn't work, even in the gender plane, because we just sometimes, as men, for myself, and some women have done the same thing. We just expect the other person to do what we want and to do what we say. And, they don't have input in the making, but yet they have to make great sacrifices. And something, when I look back at it, I say, God, that's so unfair. Why did my wife have to make all these sacrifices for what I say the Lord told me to do? At least let me sit her down and give and let her know, sweetheart, what do you think about this? Because guess
Mhm.
what? When my money goes to do this thing, when I'm not at home because my time I'm missing in action, I'm doing ministry. Many marriages have ended because quote unquote people say I'm going to do full time ministry. Well, what is full time ministry? That means that includes her, the kids. We ain't priests. We didn't take a vow of chastity, but we took an oath of being married, which means
Amen.
Yeah, the decision that we make individually, it concerns everybody in that unit. The wife, the husband, the kids. I think it should be when the president of the United States goes into the office of being president. Guess who is affected? He's not the only one that goes to the White House, but everybody that was in his house before he got to the White House goes with him to the White. So everybody has to be interviewed. And what do you think? You know, the kids, your life is going to be different. To the wife, your life is going to be different. That's what we have over in England now. What happened? Some of the people can't handle that lifestyle. And so one of the princes with his wife said, look, we're done. I want to live like a normal person. I don't want that. Because it's not just you, but it's everybody that's inside of the equation who is impacted by our individual decisions. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
That's just a thought, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the live, Shoni is saying sometimes you do stuff the other likes that you don't. You shouldn't lose yourself because they don't like to do something. Absolutely. She gives an example. I like concerts, but he doesn't. But he does it at times because I like it, and vice versa. And then she goes, heck no, no, ma'am. Auntie Mama, welcome to the live. It was, Sister Rashana, did you have anything you wanted to say? Because you made me think of something when I left that comment up there. Go ahead. Oh, you said no. Okay. Well, she said, I like concerts, but he doesn't. Oh, I know. But that's not really what I was going to say. It was not really a gender role. It was just, when it comes to witnessing and ministry, about how sometimes, being a part of what your spouse may or may not want to do. A lot of men like sports, sometimes they, want the women to participate or vice versa. And I had a woman who asked me one time, her husband liked to go to AC and gamble. And of course, she was saved and he wasn't. And so she asked me, he wanted her to go with him. Should she go? So I told her, I said, well, yes, you can go. It doesn't mean you have to gamble. If you feel that strong about it, you can just go and be there for him. Then you have some leverage when you're having something special at the church and you want him to go, then you have some leverage. But you're not, it's not like a sin for you to just go and be there with him since you were married to somebody who wasn't saved. So that was the thought that I thought about in terms of,
And maybe help him not lose all his money.
I know, right?
She can say, no, honey, that's enough. No more in that machine. No more in those.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I share something with you?
You can go ahead. Absolutely.
No, I have a few things that I wrote down, and it's different things. So people might say something different to this. One is I said, I gave y'all one of them. It was you can't receive your soulmate until you let go of your playmate.
I like that. I like that. Go ahead, man of God. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. You good. I'm with you. And then the next one was every woman every woman that lost a good man from listening to her lonely friends, and every man that lost a good woman from listening to his lonely buddies. Because believe it or not, women, you all think that a lot of the women think that men we got a bunch of free choices, but there are a lot of lonely brothers out here who are looking for some good women. You know what? And many times, some of us, we don't get the right one. Sometimes we wait a long time because we're around a lot of brothers who are lonely and they ain't trying to be married or anything. And so if we get close to ours, then they trying to distract us from getting there. So lonely friends are not good if you're trying to connect to your. Another one is an apology that's given without change. For me, I just wrote this down. So for me, it's nothing but manipulation.
Mercy.
So it's abuse.
When you hear I'm sorry, and then after that there's no change, they go back to doing the same thing, then that's an apology without change. And that's merely manipulation.
Mercy.
And a toxic person's favorite line is, I won't bother you anymore.
What?
Yes. I like want to high five that because what'll happen is,
Go
Lord.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I don't know how to explain this without. I'm very transparent.
Let it flow, sis. Let it flow.
Just say
So
it. Just say it. Just
my
say it.
husband, I'm separated. So my husband would do these things, and when I would get ready to say something about it, he would say, "Oh, I'll kill myself," or I'll leave you alone, and then it would manipulate me to go back into, okay, well, now I'm trying to comfort him, but he's the one who had did the wrong. And I feel like that was so much manipulation. Like, and I would feel so bad. Like, oh, I can't put him out because he might kill himself, or he might, something might happen to him. And I think I had to get to that place where I don't care what you're gonna say in this moment. I got to do what's best for me. Because at one point in time, it would be like, oh, he would say this, and I'd be like, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad if he's gonna do that thing. So, okay, I'm gonna take him back again. But I think in the last time, it was just the Lord, I got to do what's best for me, and I got to walk in the way you want me to walk. And if I keep allowing him to manipulate my feelings to go back and do the things that you want me to do, we'll never go forth in what I needed to go forth in.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's why I said, a toxic person. I'm not calling him toxic, but I'm saying a toxic person's favorite line is, "I won't bother you anymore." Or like you say, all those negative things, and then an apology without change is nothing but manipulation. I mean, you done apologized 30 times. You're probably you're so sorry that that's all you are is sorry because you don't see nothing else but I'm sorry. You know, and then one here is sometimes growth requires new company, new mindsets, even new locations. And you haven't, and for me, y'all, I found that I haven't truly moved on if I continue to focus on the negative energy of my past. And
Wow.
that's all I wanted to say.
That's another drop the mic.
He
Yeah.
be having the mic drop. That's why he wrote it down.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna write mine down next week too.
hello? I need to write something down. I'm just the host. I love to let y'all flow. I try to throw something in there every now and then. But I appreciate this was Rashana's topic, by the way, Prophet. She said she wanted to talk about the gender roles, and I think it's a great, excellent topic. I love what you said about, you got to get rid of the playmate so you can have a soulmate. Because
Mhm.
when you do have that soulmate, the roles won't even matter. Like you said, you'll just continue to love one another to the extent that a role doesn't even matter. You know what I
It don't.
mean? And so,
Absolutely.
so I get all of that. That's that. Look, that's it in and of itself in a nutshell. If you love a person enough, then the roles won't even have to matter.
No.
You won't have to be saying, well, the garbage has to go out, or anything like that. So I do appreciate you guys. I thank you for those of you who have come in. We are about to wrap this up. I think it's been really, really great. Thank you, Shoni Talks Lifestyle, Taste Buds Philly, Auntie Mama, 12 Bells, Burns Young Closet, of course. Thank you so much. She is a member of the of Pastor Kim's Corner, so I appreciate you. You all are welcome to join. We have the $2.99 a month, $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month, and $24.99 a month. And you have gifts and perks that come with that. So hit the join button, guys. Hit the join button. So I appreciate you, Apostle. I love the panel that we have. I appreciate you, Sister Rashana. And I especially, as women, we need a man's point of view because we can't, we don't think like men. And so we need to know how men think. And I think that really sheds a lot of light on situations. Coming up, I always had guy friends because I needed to know, I needed to know a man's point of view since I didn't have a lot of men in my life when I was young. So
Uh-huh.
I appreciate you for that, Rashana. I appreciate you, especially for the wisdom that you bring and the transparency as well. So either of you would like to say anything as we wrap it up?
I I enjoyed myself as always. I count it an honor to be with you all. I really do. I thank God that you allowed me to be part of this. I announced it on our church site tonight for them to connect. You know what I want to say? This in a time such as this, with all this uncertainty that's going on, the global pandemic. I happen to be, I'm going to say it, and I'm in contact tracing. I've been working. I'm full-time ministry now, but I work. And while working, we went back in person like 2 weeks ago, and we were tested for the COVID-19 rapid testing. And my coworker and the 7 of us in a room together came back tested positive, and so they quarantined all of us for the last 14 days. So
My
my first,
God.
yeah. So y'all pray with me. So my first test was last Friday, and it came back negative. So I'm good. I've been watching who I'm around and what I do, and I'm my 14th day. Well, they said 14 days. My 14th day will be Friday coming, and so yeah, I've already had the second one um, scheduled to be done, and I won't be able to go back to in person until after May 3rd. But I'm grateful. I'm thankful to God, and I want to say to anybody that's out there listening tonight that it is real. And in the midst of all of this uncertainty, it's a lot of negative. It's a lot of anguish, pain. There's a lot of things going on right now. And so our agenda for even doing this together is collectively knowing how the women feel for me, knowing how you all know how a man feel. Many people that are in relationships right now, so maybe somebody's listening to us, and your spouse may be, or your significant other may be going through some things right now. It's a lot of things happening right now in the midst of this. Taking the vaccine, not taking the vaccine, trusting our government, not trusting our government, just not knowing. And we as believers know that we trust in God. So I just thank God for being a part of this. Thanking you all for inviting me. Pastor Kim is family to me. That's my sister from another mother, and
Amen.
at all the way in North Carolina. We thank God for you, and it's amazing. I thank God for internet. I'm in like another whole state. I'm at the top of the map in the eastern border, and you're down at the bottom, like not at the other end. And I'm not sure where Minister Lashana is in. You said Georgia.
No, I'm back in Charlotte now.
Okay, good. Yeah. And we're able to do this and be right here together. Isn't that powerful?
Yes.
Isn't this
Yes.
powerful? So I'm grateful, and I feel like we're accomplishing the message that Jesus wanted us to do when he left his disciples in the book of St. Matthew. And he said to them when he rose, he said, "Go into Judea and Samaria and to the utmost parts of the earth." He said, "And these works I commission you to do, and greater." I see this as not greater than Jesus, but us being able to travel across the world in a matter of seconds with pushing a button. Isn't this greater? Isn't
Yes.
it in a
Absolutely.
natural? So God bless you. Thank you.
No, it's so true. It's so when he said go out into like you said the highways and the hedges and all of that. We always, I know I did back in the day, thought of the footwork of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got to get to California, I got to get to Mexico, I got to get. But now you can be in all of those places
At the
and be
same
in your
time.
home.
And you can be and in all those places at the same time.
Yes,
At the same time. That's a blessing to me.
it really is. I totally agree. Who would have thought we would be like this? 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, I know the internet has been around forever, but it's here now and live in color.
All day. Yes, yes, yes.
Rashana, did you want to say something? No?
You gotta say something to us. When you gotta say something, you gotta say.
Have a good night, all.
She said, have a good night. Thank you again for sharing. Thank you for this topic. Thank you for your transparency. I do appreciate you for that. And I thank each and every one of you for being here. Prophet, like he said, I love you. That's my brother from another mother, for real, for real. So
Absolutely.
I thank God for each and every one of you being here. Even those in the balcony, we have people in the balcony who are looking on YouTube side, Facebook side with no comments. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. I'll be
Absolutely.
here tomorrow night with Bible study. That starts at 6:30, prayer and Bible study. So y'all come back now. We love you with that agape love. Stay blessed. If you have any topics that you might want to talk about, then hit me up on IG or send me an email. Let me know if it's something that you want to talk about here, and we can go from there. God bless you. Y'all have a blessed day and a purpose-filled night. And I love you with that agape love. Bye-bye.
God bless you. God bless you.
God bless.
Love you back.